Thank you very much. In that case, welcome to today's Claycross Town Fund board meeting. I've got a bit of a busy agenda today, so let's make a start. First of all, Damien, do we have any apologies of absence?
I haven't received any, Chair.
Okay.
I've received apologies for absence for Councillor Dale.
Okay, thank you very much, Carolyn.
And Chair, there's Jill Callingham and Nick Holland. Nick referees aware Nick's a new board member, but he's also become a dad for the second time yesterday. So, he's
excellent. Good. Okay, thank you very much. In that case, let's move on to declarations of interest. Does any member today have any declarations of interest to disclose with relation to pecuniary interests and any other interests in relation to the points on today's agenda? I shall take a silence as a no and move on to the next point. Moving on to minutes from the last meeting. So the minutes were attached to the invite. I moved that the minutes are a true reflection of last month's meeting. Any objections moving into the record?
No, I second those, Chair.
Thank you very much, Carolyn. In that case, we move swiftly on to point 4 for the Accelerator projects update. Carl, could you take that one?
Okay, so as you see in your packs, we're giving you an update again on the accelerated funding projects. So anybody who's new to the board, we were giving 500k to accelerate projects within the town investment plan, and we've started that work already. So there's the relocation of tenants from the Bridge Street depot. So the project is around there, is around the depot, is to clear that site, which has now been done. So it's created a 1.2 acre development platform. We're looking, options appraisals have been carried out, and there's 3 options that have been considered at this point. And then a preferred option will be going forward for outline planning application May/June. So that's a real success. Then we have the demolition of the former junior school. As you may recall, there was an issue with the ecology window because the funding was really tight in terms of the timings for that being allocated, and then the ecology stuff that we had to do because there's bats within there. So that's been deferred, but that work, again, the surveys that we need to carry out will be able to open again. I believe it's in May. And the North East Derbyshire District Council's Estates Department and Derbyshire County Council's Estate Department are working together to sort out the demolition and all the rest. So that programme is due to start, I believe, on site in August and then completed by October. We had a public arts programme, which is going to be a separate item on the agenda, so I'm not going to talk a lot about that, but it's been quite successful and quite exciting, and Junction Arts and the artists are going to go into a lot more detail in that. Then there's also the purchase of the former Constabulary building. Again, this is a DCC owned building, but it's really important in the town investment plan in terms of that creative space. So our Estates Department and the Derbyshire County Council's Estate Department have been working quite closely, and we're at this point working out how we do the valuation, and then we'll once we've done that evaluation, we'll then look to do the purchase, and then obviously that building will be available then for that space later on in the town investment plan. So it's quite a significant part of the plan. What we were conscious of with that is we've got £500,000, and we wanted to be sure that if there's any underspend, that we had something ready to potentially come forward, because sort of things ebb and flow, and also that it might be that the costs that we initially put in were over what actually the reality is. So we've started to look at there's a former snooker club on Broadleys, which has been vacant and unused for a number of years, and it is in danger of falling into disrepair. And it is very much in the heart of the Claycross Town Deal area. And for those of you who aren't sure of it, it's next to the Marks Court accommodation. It's within North East Derbyshire District Council's ownership. So we've lined that up as a potential use for if there is any underspend on the 500k. We've had evaluation carried out, and we've had successful dialogue with the former trustees, well, the current trustees of the club. There's two. There's one who lives in Clay Cross, and there's another one who lives abroad. So that makes it slightly more challenging, but they are interested and willing and talking to us. So at this point, all the accelerated projects are progressing well and are on programme and exactly where we expect them to be. And we've started planning for, you know, if there is an underspend, that we have something that we can put into that programme to make sure that we spend that full 500k that's been allocated to us. So that's the update, Chair. So the recommendation is for board members to note the positive progress made on all the accelerated projects.
Very much. Is there any questions to Carl? Not seeing any.
Yes, could I ask a question, please? I'm just trying to get the video to cooperate, but yes, hopefully you can hear me, Carl. Yes, yes, through the chair. Probably the most visible constructed accelerated project will be the former Constabulary building. Do we have a sort of, and I know you're still in negotiations on the valuation, but do you have a sort of target date as to when we might be able to see some actual progress into bringing this into the you know, the creative projects element of it? Because I see this is probably the sort of the flagship. This is like the starting point, is it not, of the regeneration, really? And I just wondered whether what sort of timing we were trying to aim for.
Okay. So we want to agree the valuation documents, because we're going to go out to get that valued independently. So we're agreeing that with the spec between ourselves and DCC, hopefully by the end of next week, and then we'll be looking to go out to get that valuation. What we've agreed with Derbyshire County Council is that they still need to use that building for the countryside service at this point, and they are looking to rationalise their space, and at some point the countryside service will move out of there. What we've said to them is we don't need vacant possession of the property, so we would purchase the property and then lease it back to them on almost a peppercorn rent, and they would have the maintenance and repair liability for that building whilst we build up the business case, because we can't do anything until a business case has been developed, locally assured, and then submitted to government and approved, and then we can start to draw down funding. So we've got a year to, as you know, to do the business case development. So we can say that at least it's going to be a year. So, you know, minimum a year, potentially 18 months, depending on the phasing and when this part of the project comes forward.
Okay, thank you, Carl. So you've got your hand, Melanie.
Yes, morning everyone. It's just to say that with regards to your accelerated fund projects, that you will be expected to report progress on them through a monitoring and evaluation return in December this year. So obviously the sort of information that you're gathering now will help sort of populate that report.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, question from Anthony Walker. Tony Walker.
Yeah, it's a question for Carl, really. With reference to the Bridge Street depot, you've just mentioned that it's a 1.2 acre site. Is that being offered to any of the businesses that's going to be relocated from Clay Cross, with them all being in that local vicinity?
At this point, we're looking at the options in terms of what we do with that site. So no decisions have been made around end use, let alone who would be a final occupier. But we are conscious that the businesses that potentially may need to move, if we are to progress the town investment plan, are going to need a location. So that is something that we are considering.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions? Not seeing any more hands, so we can move on to point 5, or point 4A, sorry. The art project update. So Jane, are you with us?
Yeah.
I'd like to hand over to you, please.
Okay, thank you. Whoever's hosting the meeting, share the screen with me, please.
Yes, I can allow you to share your screen if that's.
That's what I meant.
helpful.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've sorted it, Asher.
Oh, okay. It's all should all be sorted. Sorry.
Okay. Can everybody see that?
We can.
Nice, colourful screen. So thank you, Carl. I'm Jane Wells. I work for Junction Arts. We're a charity based in Chesterfield. And I'm managing the Claycross Community Engagement and Public Art Project. We've got the rest of the artists team at the meeting, so I'll just quickly introduce them. There's Lucy Maycock, who has been delivering the community engagement workshops, and Simon Hollingworth, Will Lindley, and Andy Johnson-Smith from A Different Light Collective, who are creating the projection and overseeing all things technical relating to the projections. So you'll know from the monthly updates that all of the community engagement workshops have been successfully delivered. And the purpose of those was to work with local people to explore the town investment plan and to get their views. So Lucy has been working with pupils from Charley Park Community Primary School, students, Foundation Art and Design students from Chesterfield College, and residents of the Old Vicarage Care Home. Lucy's worked with 70 people. She's delivered 19 workshops and 95 pieces of artwork have been created. And this artwork will inspire and form the content for the digital projections. But in addition to the workshops, which have all been delivered remotely, of course, Lucy's also made up 20 art packs, which have been distributed through a local food bank to engage even more people with the project. So the project should have finished now. It should have finished on the 31st of March, but because of the lockdown restrictions, we've had to reschedule the projections until September, when the clocks have gone back and the nights are darker again. So from the 22nd to the 25th of September, people can come down to Market Street and see the projections on the ventilation shaft there. So Will Lindley has been working on the content for the projections. And so those screenings will take place, as I said, on the 22nd to the 25th of September, with a finale event on the 25th that will include, well, it's still in the planning stages, but we're hoping it will include a road closure to enable a larger and safer place for the activity. It'll be a small scale event to celebrate and bring the project to a close, and will include some arts workshops, some street performers, maybe the opportunity to play a digital game on the old police station. We've been talking to DCC about using that building. And of course, it will include the projections, which will be the highlight. Just to make the most of the summer months, we want to keep the profile of the project sort of high in the sort of public mind. We're creating an exhibition that will tour local venues, including places like the library, North East Derbyshire District Council offices, Chesterfield College, some of the shops in the town, and also the old Methodist church, I think it is, next to the police station. Yes, I think that we're nearly there now. So the exhibition will include a short film about the project, and that film is still being made, but if we've got time, it's only 3.5 minutes, we'd like to share the film with everybody. Is that okay?
Yes,
Have we got
please.
time, Gary?
Yes, we have time.
Yeah, so I think it's Will. Could the screen be shared with Will Lindley now, please?
All participants should be able to share the screen, but you'll have to.
Okay.
You'll need to stop sharing first.
Oh, sorry. Okay, Will, have you?
Hi, yeah, I'm
Can you take control?
great. Thanks, Jane. I'm going to try and share the screen and the sound. And as Jane has said, this is still a work in progress. So there's still quite a bit of tweaking to do, and on the sound as well. But hopefully it'll be an indication of what's coming. So I'll try that now. Share computer sound. Can we all see this? Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Okay, that's it from us. If anybody's got any questions, we'd be happy to take them.
Any questions for the digital artist team? Yes, Carolyn?
Well, it wasn't a question, just that I've enjoyed looking at I've seen some of those images before. I love some of the artwork I've seen. Absolutely love the ventilation shaft light shows. I think that's it looks stunning. So I'm really looking forward to September. And thanks ever so much and well done.
Thank you.
Melanie, did you have a point? You've got your hand raised there.
Yeah, again, I just wanted to echo what Carolyn said, and I do think that the light show is going to be spectacular, I'm sure. Just one of the things, I don't know whether it's something that you considered doing, but the Towns Fund Delivery Partnership, I've got like our town storytelling sort of promotion that they're doing, where they're trying to tell stories about what's happening in towns and the impact that's being made, and that they're also encouraging you to come forward with your stories. And I just think that this proposal and the work that you've done and still hasn't happened yet will be a fantastic thing to get them to showcase. So I'll speak to the lady who's sort of running that sort of element of their support, and share some links with you. But I think I want to promote that as well. But I think it would be helpful if you did that as a town deal board as well, to contact those links. So I will send them to you. So I just think it'd be really helpful.
Yeah, really good. Thank you. If we have no more questions, I don't see anybody with their hands up, so I'll move forward to point 5. We have some new board members. Carl, would you like to proceed?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. As you know, we completed a recruitment drive for some new board members because we'd lost some private sector representation because of the impact of the virus. So 4 new members were suggested to join the board. 3 of whom have been able to join today, which is great. We circulated the details via email and just wanted to sort of let everybody know that everybody responded favourably, and just wanted, because we had to do it via email, just to reiterate that the board is happy to welcome the new members, just to sort of have that point for the notes and the minutes, really, that the board is comfortable with these new members. And I didn't know if the new members wanted to potentially introduce themselves, say a little bit about who they are and what they can bring to the area and to what their experience is. Chair, is that okay?
Of course, yes. You're good.
Shall I nominate people or ask people to come forward?
It's probably best if you suggest in order.
Okay, so I'm just going by order of my screen then. So Marie, you're first on mine if you mind.
Hi. Thanks, Carl. Yes. Hi, I'm Marie Cooper. I'm CEO of CB Plus. We have acquired 4 businesses based in Chesterfield on the Homewood Industrial Estate, and we've been working over the last 4 years to consolidate them. I've been working with Jane on a number of projects for a few years, involved in skills and developing the young generation for future employment, skills for employability. And we're heavily involved in lots of different projects, and Jane was the one that suggested we get involved and help connect to this project and see where we can go. It's quite exciting, it's quite interesting, and we are local, we have a lot of local staff, and we want to recruit local where we can. It makes a big difference. So if we can help, we can do that and consolidate everything together. It's really exciting. I did involve Nick Holland as well at Minafern, and unfortunately, he became a dad yesterday, so that's why he's not with us today. But they play a big part in the community as well. So I think together, we are connected together to a different business network already. So hopefully, we can bring that connection together as well with that. Is that all right, Carl? Do you want me to say anything?
That's great, thank you. Anthony, I know you prefer to be called Tony, so it's you're next on my screen. If you could say a bit about yourself.
Yeah, no problem. I'm Tony Walker. I own Walker Hire on Bridge Street, so we're right at the heart of the sort of regeneration area. Really, my idea about being on the committee or on the board is that I want to protect the local businesses. I went through the last regeneration when Tesco were built, and I wasn't very happy how things progressed then. So I just want to make sure that everything is, all the local businesses are looked after as they should have been done. most of them have been there quite a long time, and I really think they bring a lot of value to the area. So that's my my remit on it.
That's great, thank you. And then Philip, last but not least.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm Philip Webb. I wear two hats. I've been in business for about 31 years. I'm ex-IBM as an engineer. One of my hats is all around organizational change. So we deliver an awful lot of change to businesses mostly, but also to public sector as well. I've been involved with the Derby City regeneration of Pride Park many years ago as the Chamber President. So I bring my experiences there. The second hat, and more recent, is a company called Investors in Community. We're an online platform where business meets third sector. That includes any not-for-profit and schools, by the way, for the purpose of facilitating volunteering, gifting, and cash donations. It's utterly free to the charities. Businesses subscribe. It's been going probably about 2 years now. We're headquartered in Coney Green Business Centre. So I offer you the facilities of being able to unify the two halves of our society in terms of the generation of the business sector and also the not-for-profit and charity sectors. And we're working specifically around people like Wakefield Town Centre, Derby City Town Centres, and others to facilitate specific improvements. For example, eradication of rough sleeping by coordinating the charitable sector, working with the donating sectors of philanthropy and the businesses. So I've got a platform at our disposal here. Look forward to working with you all. And that's about me, I think, Carl. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Then if we'll move swiftly on to point 6 on the agenda, the projects to be taken forward. Again, back to you, Carl.
Thank you, Chair. As you know, we submitted our town investment plan and we identified 10 projects as parts of that plan to ask for the funding, and there's 24.1 million available to support those 10 projects. However, we need the board to endorse that we take forward those 10 projects to business case development, which is the next piece of work that we'll be doing, because we have to submit on the 24th of May to say that these are 10 projects that we wish to take forward, and we're going to be developing the business cases for this next coming year. As you can see from, I mean, you've got experience of the town investment plan, you know what the 10 projects are. They're also in your papers, but it's just that, I suppose, have that double check that the board is happy for those 10 projects to be taken forward and that we go for the full 24.1 million as part of that town investment plan. So as you'll see in the papers, the projects and expected outcomes are listed there. As I say, we are all well aware of what they are. So I'm not going to suggest that we go through them, but maybe move straight to the recommendations that the Claycross Town Deal Board endorses the 10 projects, and we take them all forward for the full business case development.
Okay, Carolyn?
Yeah. We've put a lot of work into these, all these 10 projects, all equally important and critical to the success of the whole town board, and I'm happy to second that.
Okay, thank you. Lee Rowley, you have your hand up?
Yeah, just to absolutely confirm, there's no change to the configuration or number of projects here. We're basically just being asked to approve what we've already approved to go forward, right? I think that's the case. I just wanted to be absolutely sure.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Then move to accept that and move forward then, please. Then moving on to any other business.
If I can, Chair, I've got some piece of any other business. So we have the working groups, as you're all aware, and we're as you've seen the closed session, we're talking about the business case development and the consultants. So we'll be looking to get the invites out for the working groups as from next week, really. So we'll get those working groups together to start pulling together the piece of work that the consultants will need, but also helping bring forward the stakeholders and views to those pieces of work. And also we've got the communities and comms working group, which will be meeting more regularly than the other groups, because we're keen that the right message is being shared with the town and the residents and the businesses. So as Tony mentioned earlier, you know, we don't want businesses to be unfairly treated through this process, and we want them to be fully aware of all the information that's available and out there. So those working groups will be invites, as I say, we're going out as from next week. So keep an eye out for those in your diary. And if there's any working groups that you wish to join additional to the ones that you're already a member of, if you are a member of those working groups, please do let me know, and we'll see if we can get put on there. I mean, some of them will be quite technical. So some of the transport stuff is very technical and is sort of officer led, but by all means you can attend, but they're quite dry, shall we say.
Yeah, thank you very much. Carolyn, you have a point to raise?
Yeah, just to remind in terms of the comms, to make sure that we're, as and when we've got things to say, we need to be updating this board and probably local councillors and the parish council and anybody connected as soon as possible. Then we can, I want to make sure that everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet, that all the facts are there, and that we're not getting people going off at tangents. Obviously, a lot of questions starting to be raised about this, and we've obviously got more questions and answers at the moment. But it will be key to make sure that we keep the communications very tight and on track.
Good. Thank you. Any other comments for any other business? Any more topics to raise? Not seeing any hands.
If I may, please.
Yes,
in representing private sector on this board, and I've seen many boards of the same sort of makeup, can I be clear what the input is required and expected from the private sector representation around this board to make sure that we have the right amount of involvement and don't end up being a tick box exercise, frankly?
Yeah, Carl, did you want to respond to that?
Yeah, Cameron. Yeah. Well, as you know, we have the working groups, which does a lot of the work in terms of those particular projects. So all those 10 projects have a working group attached. Some of the projects, because they're quite similar, are sort of merged together in terms of the built environment. So we would strongly recommend that if you can and have the time available, that you would join one of those working groups, and then you would be the voice for the business sector. But also, as Karen quite rightly says, we need to make sure the comms are accurate in terms of what's going out. And we'd ask that the board members of the private sector, if they join these working groups on the comms group, they sort of share that same message. Because you're right, what we don't want is it just to be a tick box exercise. We actually want this to be embedded in the businesses and the residents of Playcross. So yeah, if you can spare the time and get involved with the working groups, that would be really appreciated. And it will help also bring a different perspective to those working groups, because you can talk from the private sector, because your understanding of the world is slightly different to mine as working in a local authority. So some of the stuff that we think works in theory may not work or translate into business well. So your experience would certainly help.
That'd be great, Carl. Thank you. Can I have some kind of visibility on what working groups are there, who's chairing them, so I can have the opportunity to get involved, as I would love to do?
Yeah, of course. What I'll do is we've circulated in the past the working groups. What we'll do is we'll recirculate that. We'll update it because some of the names have been filled in now. So we'll circulate that to all the board. And then if there's any working groups you feel a real desire that you could actually add some value to that working group, we'll make sure that you're included on it.
Thank you.
Yeah, can I just add to that, Carl? Sorry, yeah, just picking up, because I've seen the working groups and there is a few that I think we can add value to, but you did say that invites would be sent out. So is there specifics that you would want us to get involved in and then we can choose others? Or is it a case of what you think we can add to?
Well, what we've done it is based on what we think fits with the skills and that we need. So that's why I've identified some organisations. So for instance, some of the art stuff, Junction Arts, and makes sense for them to be in other local arts organisations. But if you feel actually that's one that we could still add value to, because we wouldn't necessarily put your organisation down as a potential representation for that, if that makes sense. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll send out the ones that it's a table really. So what organisations we've identified, and then if you wish to be added to that, we can include you on additional ones, and we'll send out the invite for the other ones that we think would sort of be appropriate for you.
Okay, that's fine. And would you be happy for us to recommend anybody we think would add value as well from our networks?
Absolutely. The more people who can be involved in the working group. I mean, we don't want it so it's 100 people in it, but if we can get a strong working group where people are going to add value outside of this board. I mean, that's kind of why we want you, because you have those links within the community, and the more people involved, the better it's going to be in terms of in being appropriate for Clay Cross rather than any town, any place.
Because I think that's one thing that's become clear, because we're working with Jane on a low carbon project with Speakers for Schools, and I was talking to Dan Hefferman as well yesterday, and it's quite clear that we need to start communicating between what's going off in the area and start collaborating and joining the dots, because it's not always easy. I appreciate that, but it's quite clear that there's a lot more could be done if we can get them connections joined together.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's sorry, Jay, carrying on, but there's a lot of different groups out there working on broadly similar type things, so it's hard to map it all, because if you're not aware of the group, you don't want to duplicate the work that they're doing, but also you want to feed in to what they're doing or what they do to feed into your group. So if you're aware of other groups, by all means, let us know and we can try and map out. So low carbon's a great example, because it's something that's quite key in our town investment plan, and it'd be useful if we could tap into other working groups or other pieces of work, that activity that's been done, to sort of give that holistic approach rather than just a narrow focus that maybe misses out on other stuff.
Do you want me to keep you posted on things like that then? Because this is an event that we're running. It's a digital event, but it's specifically with 3 schools in the area that Jane's linking to run a low carbon event that we're facilitating a project for. So is it worth keeping you in loop for things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Jane has been talking to us about it, but yeah, absolutely. Send it through. Anything like that is great.
Thank you very much, Carolyn.
Yeah, I think as I said before, I think we're in this sort of halfway house where we've got a plan of 10 projects but very little detail, and that's obviously because we've not developed the business planning, which is the next 12 months we've got to do. So it is about controlling the narrative a little bit. What I think, or I'm hoping, Carl, is that the comms group, I know we're trying to build the communication strategy, is that it'd be quite useful to have some kind of portal that we could actually or share queries, questions. So if people are getting questions from businesses or from residents, in terms of fact checking, that we have some way that us as a board can all actually get on some kind of portal where we can all actually address these questions and make sure we have the correct answers.
If I can, Chair, yeah, we'll set something up. It might not necessarily be a portal, but it might be an email address that you email. So we maybe have to set up a Clay Cross Town Deal Board email, and myself or one of the team will be able to have access to that and pick up any queries to that, if that helps. Okay,
thank you very much. If there's no additional points, then at this point I'd like to close the meeting to the public due to exempt information and disclosure topics. So if we can end the YouTube broadcast now, please.